One man spent 38 years digging a tunnel through a mountain by hand. His name is Burro Schmidt, and starting in 1900, he wanted to find a way to take his gold ore through a mountain. So every day, he picked up a pickaxe and started chipping. 20 years into this project, a road was made around the mountain, so his tunnel was useless. And instead of stopping, Burrow continued for another 18 years when he finally saw light on the other side. Shortly after the tunnel was completed, Burro Schmidt moved away. No ore was ever sent through the mountain, but I think that there's inspiration, motivation, and some lessons in the story. So in this video, we're gonna go to Burro Schmidt's tunnel, and we're gonna dive into what some of those motivations might have been. We're headed to Ridgecrest. Just outside Ridgecrest, there is a thing called the Burro Schmidt Tunnel. And William Burro Schmidt was a miner that moved to California in the late 1800s. You know, he was born in New Hampshire. 6 of his siblings died of tuberculosis. So he packed his way out west to strike it rich. And around 1900, he started this project where he wanted to bring ore through a mountain instead of going around the mountain to transport the ore. And he started this in 1900, and by 1920, so 20 years in, it was determined that it was no longer useful. You know, they made another pass around, so the tunnel that he was building was for no good. And Schmidt decided, I don't care. So this is a guy that spent 38 years of his life hand tunneling a half-a-mile tunnel. I think it's just a reminder that you can assign purpose to what you want to, you know? For Cerro Gordo, by any sane calculation, I think most people would have left. You know, they would have packed it in. They would have called it a day. There's easier places to make a hotel. There's much better ways to spend a life, some would say. For me, it's become that purpose. You know, it's become what I've set out to do. And it becomes this feeling of completion that I'm sure that Burro Schmidt had every day. Because while Burro Schmidt never moved any ore through his tunnel, he inspired just generations. You know, he's not inspiring the masses, but to the people that it resonates with, like me, some of my friends that I talk to about it, he inspires them. All right, so I'm out here at Burro Schmidt's cabin before the tunnel. I haven't seen the tunnel yet, but I'm trying to imagine just him. You know, it's 7 a.m. He's on his 15th year of just hitting raw steel against rock. And he wakes up, he's sore, he hit his thumb the day before, it's bleeding still, yet he still gets up, fully knowing that this tunnel is of no commercial use. And then he trudges into it. And it's just this feeling that resonates with so much. You know, today almost felt like a pilgrimage. It almost felt like I had to come out here to almost feel the essence of what this man was. So the crazy thing is, if you go into his old cabins, this is Burrow's cabin, and you look, any scrap that he had of like crackers or cigarettes or tea packages or even anything, he would nail to the walls to provide insulation. So I mean, down here, if you look at these newspapers, this newspaper is from 1921. So that's while he was here. So to stop the wind, he's just putting up anything that was easy as insulation. You may as well, basically, right? If he had to bring all this stuff out here, why would he not just use it as insulation? Why would he throw it away? And so over the years, you just see this collection of everything from biscuits to a bunch of tea. He was drinking a bunch of tea to just all these old newspapers that I wonder how delayed he got them, to gorgeous Gabby, tomato puree, so anything to stop the wind and the rain from getting in here. And it just gives a glimpse, you know, this is the space that guy lived for all of that time, 38 years. And I don't imagine the view changed much since then. I don't know, it's just beautiful to me. I came out here, you know, obviously I was drawn here for some reason, and it's just been really inspiring being out here, seeing how much he cared about something and how he assigned his purpose to this. And all he was doing, if you want to look at it that way, was digging a hole in a mountain. But at the same time, so many people have come out here and appreciated his work and got something out of it like I did. And so when I look at these newspapers on the wall, I don't see like a madman. I just think of somebody so passionate that he must have inspired so many people. And I think we need more passionate people about that. So no matter what you're passionate about, whether it's just digging a hole through a mountain or whatever it is, if you can tap into that passion, assign that purpose in your life, I think the world would be a better place if we all did that. All right, so we're here, the main event. As you can see, William Burro Schmidt. It took 38 years to hand dig this half-mile long tunnel, completed in 1938. He was born in 1871, died 1954. And so with that, I think it's time to go in there, see what he spent his life doing. So to think about, like, every little bit of this came out by hand, and it's surprising. Well, that's strange. But I'm standing up without ducking, and I'm 6'2", so he didn't just make a tiny little crawl hole. You know, he could have cut corners, but that wasn't Mr. Schmidt's way. That's also nice. So think about every single bit of this had to be taken out by hand. The thing that I appreciate so far is that he wasn't really cutting corners. You know, you see how wide this is? I'm still being able to stand up pretty much straight. And you have to figure like every inch that he would have taken off could have saved years in total, but no. Instead, made it. I guess if you're gonna spend your life doing something, you might as well do it right. So he definitely did that. It's nice and spacious. So you can see back here, if we're about halfway, about 20 years into it is when he was told that this tunnel is no longer useful. And so he would have seen that little light each day. You know, he only had candles. And he had to make the decision, do I just call this my life's work, or do I get to the other side? And he kept going, you know, so for another 18 years, he woke up every day, looked at rock like that, and chipped away at it. For 18 more years, 38 years. It's almost too much to think about, but he did it. He burrowed through the mountain. And now, over 100 years later, still drawing people to his work. And so here, you see that he's getting to the other side, and the tunnel is a lot shorter. I figured maybe it was 40 years of digging out a tunnel that shrunk him, or he realized he's going to be done with it. But I can try to imagine like his feelings now, you know, where he's sensing that he's getting closer. You know, what day will be the day that he literally breaks through to the sunlight? Because you have to imagine, before this hole was here, it was pitch dark in here. So he was just thinking, you know, like, am I there? Am I there? And then one day, he emerged. Yeah, towards the end here, it gets real narrow. I think he was ready to get done. Can you imagine first day when that swing of the pickaxe would have brought light into this dark dungeon for the first time? And finally he would have crept out, and that would have been his view. And he would have made it to the other side. And I wonder in that moment, it was sad. That's the light. We're about halfway back towards the entrance. And so you're looking at, between here and there, approximately 20 years of work, which in one way it's very tangible, your work, you know. In others it's very intangible to think about. And that is it. That was a tunnel dug by a man named Burro Schmidt. Legend, if you ask me. You know, I'm sitting back here at Cerro Gordo and I just took a ton away from that Burro Schmidt visit. You know, it's just such a tangible example of this guy finding his purpose. And I think it's kind of up to all of us to find that purpose, that meaning in our own life. And it doesn't have to be something that's prescribed to us. And so when I see somebody like Burro Schmidt, you know, just pursuing this thing with all of himself, it just illuminates in me what's possible for humans, you know, what's possible for me, even in the brief moment. And so I hope for you guys, no matter what you're up to out there, you find that meaning, you find that purpose, no matter what it's in, no matter what people say about it. And that's it for now. You know, I'm gonna sit here, continue working on what I find purpose and meaning in, and remembering that Burro Schmidt spent 38 years on something puts these 3 years in perspective. So I'm gonna keep going here. Hope you guys stick around, and I hope you guys find that thing that just brings all of yourself out of you. Hey guys, thank you so much for checking out the video. If you enjoyed this story about Burro Schmidt, I hope you'll consider getting my book, Ghost Town Living, coming out in March of this year. This book dives into all sorts of interesting tales like Burro Schmidt that I collected for the last 4 years. And it would just mean the world to me if you guys would pre-order it. It comes out in March, but if you look below, there's some bonuses available if you order it before then. Again, Ghost Town Living, available pretty much everywhere books are sold, coming out in March. Check it out.